Welcome everyone to another Cosmic Rose Honey Wednesday. So excited to be here with you. So we're going to open up with our Q&A circle. So this is really the space for you to share anything that might be happening in your Kundalini process on your healing journey and any particular questions that you have that you want support on. This is the space for it. So how we usually go is that whoever has a question can unmute and then we'll go from person to person. We'll check in to make sure that everybody feels good before we move into our 20-minute silent meditation. Cool?
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, cool. I think Marsha's here as well. Hi, Marsha. Oh, Samia is here, so let me just let her into the room as well. And then, Fella, you can get started. What question do you have today? How can I support you?
Yes, please. So I've been traumatized as a child, and this has made of me like a very masculine person. Like I only accept my personal help. I can't accept the help from another. Like I always want to lead. I always have to have my own back. Like I'm very masculine. And since
Mm-hmm.
Kundalini is the feminine energy, so
Mm-hmm.
what does the Kundalini do to my masculine energy? Like since it is a feminine energy, and yeah,
Yeah.
and how does it affect the man? Like it is a
Yeah.
feminine energy. How does it affect a boy or a man?
Yeah. So very great question. I love this question so much, Fella. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Hi, Samia. So nice to see you.
Okay.
So it's funny because I've been sitting with this a lot the last 24 hours actually, because I'm working on the page for Beauty and the Beast, which is the whole premise, like everything that you're sharing about here. So the first thing that I want to say is that I just want to really witness you and honor you and validate all that you're experiencing with a hyper strengthened masculine part, right? I think so many of us can relate to this because what happens is that not only are our societies designed and the culture is designed in a way that pushes us, especially with colonial values of work hard, push, hustle, prove yourself, all about productivity. Our culture as a whole is heavily patriarchal, which for us and our nervous systems to feel like I can survive in this world, it's like naturally we feel like we have to be in our hyper masculine. And then, as you've mentioned, what happens is that through the experiences of trauma and pain, our autonomic nervous system learns that it's not safe for me to soften. Right? It's not safe for me to be. It's not safe for me to feel. I'm going to hurt. There are going to be consequences. So I just want to start off and preface by saying that your the hyper masculine that you experience, like being very masculine, that part of you is beautiful. That part of you has served its purpose in protecting you, right? And shielding you from potential pain from people and things and circumstances that could hurt you. Now, what happens is that as the Kundalini force begins to awaken, as we start to develop a relationship with the Divine Mother, what we begin to learn, what we begin to experience is profound unconditional love. And the unconditional love that we feel is the unconditional love that says, I can hold all of this. I can hold the pain. I can hold the past versions of myself who have been through trauma, who have felt that I'm not good enough or it's not safe for me to trust or that people are going to hurt me. I can allow my unconditional love as it flows through me from the Divine Mother, I can allow that to wrap the past versions of myself, to wrap the pains that I have been through, and to also hold me in terms of how I navigate through my day to day. So what that does to our masculine over time, as I have really experienced for myself the last couple of years, is that our masculine gets to be transformed. So usually when we are in our hyper masculine, when we are in that survival sympathetic nervous system response, how that usually manifests is like hypervigilance, right? So we're usually on alert. People often call this negative thinking or you're overthinking or focusing on the worst case scenarios, but this is really the sympathetic nervous system going like, I need to be on the lookout for everything that could potentially hurt me. What happens when um the feminine force love begins to activate inside of us is that there is a greater sense of safety. Our wounded masculine, which can often also manifest inside of us as very harsh inner critic, right? Constantly putting us down, saying, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you can't accomplish this, look at you, blah, blah, blah. That wounded masculine becomes transformed into the divine masculine. The divine masculine is actually an extremely sacred energy. It is the energy of the provider, it is the energy of the container, the space of safety. It is the energy of purposeful action towards a direction. It is the commitment, the will that allows us to bring an idea, a creative idea of the feminine into the physical manifestation in our day-to-day form. And so what happens is that through the Kundalini process, the love, the grace of the mother, the love, the grace, the unconditional essence of the divine feminine wraps around our masculine, and it allows our wounded masculine, the I gotta control, I gotta do, I gotta fight, I gotta compete, all of that gets transformed back into how can I be of service to the divine? How can I bring into reality the creations that are moving through me? How can I create that space of safety for myself, saying, I've got your back no matter what? And also, we're able to let in support, and also, we're able to let in people who are here to guide us along the way as well. So, that's the first aspect, is that when there is the essence of the divine feminine, the divine mother unconditional love, it transforms the wounded masculine back into the divine masculine. And through the resurrection of the divine masculine, the divine feminine inside of us can rise. And so the dance between Shakti and Shiva in their divine form gets to happen in our body. And how that continues to play out in our day-to-day too is that there begins to be a relationship of love, a relationship of respect, a relationship of trust that occurs between these two facets of our consciousness. So no longer are we pointing fingers within ourselves, right? It's your fault. No, you, no, you. Like, I'm going to numb and not feel this feeling. I'm going to overwork. Like, no longer are there just these automatic protection mechanisms and inner conflict between us, but these two facets of our consciousness can actually talk to each other. They can actually relate to each other, devote to keeping each other safe and loving each other no matter what. Now, when it comes to, okay, how does this energy apply to men? We have to understand that feminine and masculine transcends beyond gender, right? So masculine and feminine energy exists within all of us. The characteristics of the feminine being the creative essence, the dynamic nature, the feeling, the being, that transcends past any gender, meaning that the expression of this energy is the same regardless of whether someone is non-binary, is binary, is male, female, etc. It transcends past all of these different gender identifications. And so it works in the same way, you know, for men in particular, as you asked here, is that they learn, for example, not to be so harsh on themselves, right? The awakening of the love of the mother, the unconditional love, allows them to know that I am safe in my body. I can actually feel that I am enough as I am, and all these other beautiful things that can occur through that process. Does that answer your question? I mean, if I keep on talking, we'll be here forever. So,
Yeah, yes, a lot, lots. You were speaking about me when you pointed to that point thing of like self-criticism and self-demand and asking myself to make more efforts. It was me. That is how I function.
yeah.
But yeah, but I've known that the feminine is a natural receiver and the men are provider. I've always like been pointing my finger towards myself and saying, when I am this masculine, this leader, I am stopping myself from receiving, like
Mm,
because the women are natural receivers.
mm-hmm.
So I'm not I when I'm like this harsh on myself, I'm not I stopping myself from receiving because the woman is naturally receiver. But when she enhances her masculinity, she's like striving herself from receiving
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
unclouding or
Yeah, in a sense, for sure that can happen, right? Because when we have the mentality that it's like, and I was totally there as well, Fella, so I understand you like to a T, everything that you're describing, where you're like, I can take care of myself, I can figure it out, I can do it, I can provide for me, I could, and it's like there's literally no space. There's no physical space, there's no energetic space to be provided for, either by someone else or by the divine as a whole, which is why the core of the feminine, right? What we practice here in these meditations, in Kundalini activation journeys, and everything that I teach in my work is surrender. Right? Surrender means letting go of what we think I need to do. I have to control. Letting that soften just a little bit. Again, we don't have to fully say I surrender, but it's a practice of incrementally letting go of control. Because what happens when we think about it is that the masculine, the hyper masculine control, I gotta do, I gotta do, I gotta do, right? What happens in your body when you say that, right? Naturally, there's a constriction. It's And when there's a constriction, there's a lack of space. When there's a lack of space, grace cannot flow through. So, through this incremental practice of I soften, I surrender, I create incremental space inside of my being a little bit at a time, there's also more room for us to be provided for by the divine. I think the most important thing is that when you're having the awareness of, ooh, this is my pattern, this is what is happening inside of me, the biggest thing is to know that it is not wrong. You don't have to change it. You don't have to fight it. It's just a point of awareness that then gives you the opportunity to decide, actually, this has worked for me for so many years of my life, but I don't want it to work in this way anymore. I don't want to take everything on for myself. I don't want to control everything. I don't want to figure everything out. So I'm going to make a new decision, one that I practice stepping into every single day, which is softening a little bit at a time. Really celebrating every single time you're courageous enough to do that. Whenever you want to soften, you want to trust, you want to let go, and the part of you comes up that says, nope, stop, abort mission, don't do that. We don't push that part away. We listen to that part. We validate that part. We say, what do you want me to know? What can I do for you? How can I allow you to feel safer? How can I hold you as I hold myself, right? We have to relate to these different parts of us that have been resisting. We have to relate to these different parts of us that are afraid of letting go of control in order to truly be able to surrender.
Perfect.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the wonderful questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions?
I do have a question.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi. I'm curious. Actually, I was in the Kundalini past June the 29th. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know what are, you were saying things, like in between, or you were saying, well, I don't know if there were sounds. I can't remember, I
Mm-hmm.
fall asleep for a little bit, but I'm just curious and I just want to know.
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
everything happened very quickly, things that I saw and like I was here and then I was there, so, but I remember listening to you saying, I don't know. So I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, for sure. So in these different sessions, I connect and I work directly with the Isis Magdalene Rose lineage. So a lot of what comes through during the sessions in sounds is what is known as light language, particularly from this lineage. So at the core of how it works is that we are all sound, right? We are created by sound. We are vibration. And so we're vibration that typically moves in a very slow pace that creates the illusion of a physical body and a physical reality. So, what is happening when I bring in the sound is that the sound is designed in a way that supports you in unlocking and unwinding areas of density. Because even when we have energetic knots, or sometimes we call it energetic blocks, what that really is that it is vibration that is stuck. So sound has the ability to penetrate through a lot of these blocks and help to actually unwind the energy. Sound healing and using vibration and different tones and different frequencies to unwind energy to facilitate healing has been around for thousands of years. In Tibetan Buddhism, it has been found in Indian Hinduism. The understanding of each of the chakra system actually having a different vowel, different sounds that correspond to helping that chakra open and balance. So what happens in the activation sessions is that a lot of the times, the first thing that you might hear are different tones that come in. So I might be making sounds like oh, or like ah, ooh, right? So those are specific vowel sounds that are penetrating and working at different chakra points. There's also the channeling of light language. And again, these are light codes that help us to unwind the energy. It helps us to open the heart. And for many of my clients, they report back and share that it's like the soul remembrance that happens. Their body begins to vibrate with the energy. And it's like these dormant codes and information about your true nature, who you truly are, begins to unlock through this experience of sound and vibration. So these sounds that come through, a lot of the times they come through again in whistling and tones and different, what sounds like a galactic dialect. They're not linear language for the mind to decode, to be like, oh, you said hi and you said great. It doesn't work in this linear way. But what happens is like it's a concoction of different frequencies that your consciousness can decode for you in that moment of time and space and help to initiate some kind of change inside of your body. Whether it might be, okay, by hearing the sound, my heart can actually soften and open a little bit. Or maybe it's by hearing the sound, my body begins to shake, and a lot of the fear that I've been holding on for many, many years begins to transform inside of me. So the coolest thing with light language is that I can be making the same sounds in a room of different people, and everybody can have a different experience because it's non-linear, multi-dimensional language that essentially is like a potential of sound that is put into the space, and then your body as the observer will localize that time, the sound in time and space, and localize it in your experience to have a physical experience of how that sound is going to best support you. Sometimes during the session, I can't remember in that session if I did it, but sometimes I also just directly say English words like remember who you are, like you are love, or, like it's really in the moment where I'm guided to allow those words or those sound vibrations to come in and to support your healing and your opening. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you.
for the
Thank you. Great question.
clarification. Thanks.
Yes. Samia, how are you? Oh, you're on mute. Let me do ask to unmute.
I'm here.
Hello.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
How can I use my light language to aid me? I mean, it's been coming through more and more
Mm-hmm.
with the energies and everything else and all the stuff I've been going through and changes in my life and trying to find a career. Like it's just, you just talking about the masculine and feminine. I'm going through all of that, all the purging,
Yeah.
all of what I used to do doesn't work anymore. But the light language is helping me, but how can I use it more efficiently? It's coming through and I can use it, and I say it and it comes
Yeah.
flows, but how do I use it more intentionally?
Yeah. So
Any
I think,
suggestions?
yeah, I think just creating the intentional space for it. So for example, whether it's in your morning practice, in your evening practice, taking a couple of minutes first to ground, right? The more that we ground and feel ourselves connected to the core of our divine mother, the more spaciousness there is to open up and allow the cosmic codes and these light frequencies to come in, and in your expression. One thing that I always do is that I ground myself, and I have like a whole, elaborate channel opening protocol, if you will, but
Okay.
always making sure that you're protecting yourself, right? Declaring that I'm
Mhm.
only connecting to the frequencies of 100% pure light, to the highest
Mhm.
vibrational frequencies aligned to God, Goddess source, like setting that intentional space. And then from there, once you open your channel, you feel grounded. It's feeling into, okay, what am I looking for support in today? Right. So maybe, for example, it's like, hey, there's a lot of heaviness that's going on in my life right now. I'm feeling very overwhelmed. I'm going to breathe in, drop into my heart. Can you please allow through any energetic transmissions of the highest frequency, of the highest
Mhm.
good and light
Okay.
that can support me with X, Y, and Z? And then
Okay.
creating the space for that and letting it come through.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got
My pleasure. Amazing. How did you know that the light language comes to you from Isis? Because me too, I happen to speak light language, but I don't know if it comes from me from Isis or somewhere else. Yeah, for me, it's been quite an interesting journey, honestly. Like when the sounds first started coming in, first of all, I thought I was crazy for a very long time and I wouldn't share it. And I was like, oh no, I can't do it. And then eventually just working more and more through the Kundalini activation experiences, it started coming through more frequently. I started weaving it into my sessions. And at first, it was actually receiving a lot of reflections from people who were hearing it. That's like, that brought me back to a past life in Egypt. That brought me to Goddess Isis. That brought me to Hathor. So I started to kind of have like the reflection of that. And then the more that I connect, just as I open my channel, as I tune into the vibrations of it, the more it just kind of brought back past life memories and knowing inside of me as well. I think it's less of like an intellectual, like, how do I know for sure, but always about connecting back to your heart, about feeling how the sound makes you feel. And aside from just the Isis Magdalene lineage, I also have Pleiadian starseed origins, Arcturian past lives, Orion past lives, like so many different intricacies that I'm sure kind of come in and intermingle and mix with the different frequencies in the light language. So I think it's just like an ongoing inquiry, you know, when you open your channel, when you allow the sounds to come through, feeling into how that makes you feel, and then also what is the wisdom, right? Who is communicating to me and having a relationship with that energy. When is your next session? Yeah, my next session is July 28th. So that's the Sunday from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern. Yay. Oh, and I'm also doing another free event. Some of you may have seen this before, but I do like a bigger free Kundalini activation experience like once every quarter. That one will be happening the beginning of August, maybe August 1st or August 8th. I'm still finalizing the date and time for that, but it's going to be called Be Our Guest in the theme of Beauty and the Beast. So it's fun. All right. Any other questions before we move into our meditation? Now we're good? Cool. So I'm going to pin myself and we will get started. So for those of us who are new to the circle for Cosmic Rose Honey, I'll just explain very quickly what this meditation is. This meditation is a silent Shakti meditation that immerses us also in the frequency of the Divine Mother. This practice is a little bit different than the Kundalini codes activation experiences, where we're working more with the life force, the Prana Shakti aspect of Kundalini Shakti. Here, we're working more with consciousness. We're working more with stillness, with pure being. So this transmission, if you will, this meditation space is really geared towards opening up your higher centers, opening up your consciousness, and bringing you back into a direct experience of pure beingness. So the way that this meditation, this frequency came to me was literally feeling like there's cosmic rose honey pouring through the crown of my head and beginning to open my crown into the 1,000-petal lotus and coming into my third eye and coming into my heart chakra. So during the meditation, you don't have to focus necessarily on anything, but if you do find your mind drifting a little bit, it's very helpful, I find, to just turn your gaze towards the crown of your head. As you inhale, you feel the cosmic rose honey kind of coming down through your crown chakra, opening up your third eye, your throat, your heart, and just softening into the different sensations that you feel. If your mind gets loud, again, it's a part of the experience of meditation as well. So just come back to your breath and allow yourself to melt into your resistance, melt into the different thoughts, and just come back again and again into what you feel in your body. Cool? All right. So we'll get set up for the meditation. You can come into a comfortable seated position if you want to sit with your legs crossed and lengthen through your spine, or if you want to sit with your feet flat on the ground, pressing against the earth, that works as well. I'm going to set our timer for 20 minutes, so you can just roll out your shoulders, roll out your neck, let yourself really shake it out, get loose, get so comfortable. Whenever you're ready, you're going to come back to an elongated spine from the very base of your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head, slightly tucking your chin in, allowing all of your awareness to come inwards and soften, soften, soften. And we'll begin our meditation for 20 minutes. Taking a deep breath in, deep breath out. Allowing yourself to ground back into this time and space, into your body, into this moment. And taking all the time that you need before you open up your eyes and come back into the room.